Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to welcome today's guest, international best-selling author, Dr. Nicole Swiner. She has just released her new book, The Superwoman Complex, a follow-up visit. Now listen to this. Since the release of her first book, How to Avoid the Superwoman Complex, 12 Ways to Balance Mind, Body, and Spirit, in March of 2015, Dr. Swiner, aka DocSwiner, has been speaking locally and nationally for organizations, groups, high schools, and universities about stress management, health matters, and health care. Her first book described what the Superwoman Complex is, and the follow-up book describes what to do about it. As a follow-up to her first book, she has added more in-depth information with a plan of action to attack this syndrome in order for you to live a fuller, more satisfied life. DocSwiner continues to give real-life examples of how she works to achieve a work-life balance as a working mom and entrepreneur to help others. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I'm really interested in this. If you could just recap a little bit about how to avoid the Superwoman Complex, and then we can dive in to the tips that the follow-up visit provides.
Right. So the first book, or the Superwoman Complex in general, is defined as this false notion of women, or one woman being a perfect woman to all of those around her, and then at the end of the day ending up neglecting herself and her own needs. So that's, what the Superwoman Complex, the Superwoman Syndrome, it's called a lot of different things in literature, but that's what that is. And I was inspired to write that book because as a full-time family doc, wife, mom, entrepreneur, I found myself stuck in some of those constructs and some of those definitions of what it was to be, the perfect wife, the perfect mom, a great doc, a good business owner, and getting caught up in that and forgetting to focus on self-care. So, as I have been going through my journey, trying to figure out what works for me and figuring out what works for my patients, I figured, let's put it on paper. It's definitely an epidemic. All of us are facing, if you're not struggling with the notion of being a superwoman yourself, someone around you. And for men, there's Superman complex, but clearly they know women that are also trying to balance all these things, and just put it out. And so we can talk about it, have conversations, do assessments of what's going on in our lives, at work, at home, and see if we can figure this whole thing out and give ourselves a break. So that's really what the first book is about. It's, defining what it is, talking about what it's been like for me as a fresh new doctor on the scene, young wife, not so young anymore, younger wife then, mom of two, how I went through that, how I counseled my patients, and what this thing is about. The second book, the follow-up, or a follow-up visit from the Superwoman Complex, is a more in-depth guide. So the first book said, okay, this is what it is, this is what we're facing. The second book over the last year and a half shows, okay, continuing my journey in this whole work-life balance thing. And now, chapter by chapter, identifying different issues within the complex and saying, okay, this is what we can do about it. So that's what it is.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head, and every woman I know is trying to balance, and sometimes it's like, how in the world do you achieve all these things? I remember at one point in my life where I actually counted, of all the things I needed to do, I needed to be 23 different people.
Right.
Not personalities, just to 23 different people.
Physically different people,
all
yeah.
These different things. And right now, the holidays are coming up, and I'm dating this interview, but I think it's okay because no matter what time of the year, there's always a holiday coming up.
That's right.
But let's go ahead and maybe just take a couple things that we can do to avoid the superwoman complex, especially in the next few months when it seems like all the pressures we have, family pressures, job pressures,
Yeah.
the new year's coming up, just all these different pressures. So maybe give us, maybe one or two tips, and then we can go from there on how to solidify or help yourself get balanced.
Yes. So, almost no matter what season or time of the year it is, I always stress the importance of sleep and rest. So you should always try to, as much as you can, realistically get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. I know that sounds crazy to some people. Some people are like, "Well, I haven't done that, in years." Like, what do you mean, try to get 6 to 8 hours? You literally have to try to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. That's what the literature says is healthy for us. We need it to restore our hormone levels, help your body to kind of reset, so you have to rest. So regardless of what time of year it is, get your rest. The other thing that I say that regardless of time of year, we need to all do is exercise more.
Yes.
We become a very sedentary world nation, especially with the advent of social media and wonderful TV shows and all this. We sit a lot more jobs. We're sitting at desks, sitting at cubicles. So as soon as I finish this interview, I'm going to force myself to get on that treadmill that's over there. We'll see if that happens. But exercise and sleep, no matter what time of year, we definitely have to maintain. But particularly for the holidays, plan ahead as much as possible. Try not to wait until the week before Thanksgiving to cram and download all the menus that you're gonna or the recipes that you're gonna cook, and go to the store the day before that. Plan ahead. That means plan with your budget. Go ahead and decide, okay, I'm only gonna spend this much, or if it's Christmas time, plan months if not more beforehand for your holiday budget, so you're not breaking your bank and breaking your pockets and then coming to the new year in debt and struggling to catch up. Plan ahead, don't break the bank, and share the load. If you're always the one hosting the huge family meal, spread that out a bit. This year we did it at my house, and next year we'll do it at grandma's house or my in-laws' house. Or we'll all do it at my house, but everyone's going to bring something. I'm not going to be the only one cooking and slaving in the kitchen and not enjoying myself. So those would be the most important ones I think we should all focus on.
So obviously budgeting not only your money but your time will really help you. And I really like that idea about handing off the different holidays. I know when you said that, it reminded me of how we used to have Thanksgiving at, I think it was my sister-in-law's house. My mom would have Christmas Eve. Someone else would do Christmas Day. So it did relieve that stress. And of course, a lot of people, as simple things like having a Christmas club budget or account could be very helpful, because then you have a certain amount of money left over. You've talked about with the balancing. There's so many things that the issues. Sleep is important, and you actually have formulations of different things related to sleep that can help people sleep. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, as a doctor, of course, we're given a bad rep for always some prescription and doling out some pharmaceutical med to help with things. But there are a lot of natural ways that we can defeat a lot of illnesses in general, but sleep specifically. So if anyone comes to me with issues of sleep, whether it be sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, I always ask about their sleep hygiene. What's your routine? Are you staying up till 3 a.m. every morning before laying down? Do you have the TV on right up until the time that you shut your eyes, or you're looking at your phone all the time? So making sure that you're getting into the habit of shutting your body down an hour or so before sleep so that you can rest better, number one. But then if you're feeling like you need some help, there are things both natural and over the counter, such as melatonin. Melatonin is something that is naturally in our bloodstream that helps to, it peaks at a certain time of the night. So that's when we know our body's ready to rest. Melatonin, actually, you can take as a vitamin, take as a supplement. Evening primrose oil, lavender, all these things are very helpful to help you rest. And what I did with my assistant, Amy, who has Amy Melissa Body and Face Products, which she mixes organically in her kitchen, literally, we together came up with a body butter called the Superwoman Serum, Sleep Serum. And it's a combination of moisturizing body butter lotion. So it has, shea and essential oils to keep your skin nice and soft and supple. But then in it, we put melatonin, we put lavender, we put lemongrass, we put evening primrose oil, which for some women can help with hormonal changes like hot flashes and all of that. So it's great. We made it for ourselves to see if it would work, and it worked with us, and we've sold it to other ladies and men, by the way, who have enjoyed it. I warned them about the primrose oil, and they may feel a little bit more sensitive. But that was a joke. A male friend of mine said he used it more than his wife, and he definitely felt more in tune with his female intuition. But it's worked well. It's not a pill that you're popping in your mouth. Has literally, I don't think I've had anyone, maybe one person to say that it made her too sleepy, but it's worked well. And, so, you don't have to necessarily buy my products, but just be in tune with your sleep hygiene, your routine. Are you drinking too much caffeine? Are you doing too much before bedtime? And then if you need help, try some of those natural and hormonal supplements that can be helpful too.
I think that that's really interesting, because everything that you're talking about are natural things that obviously we can use, these earthy things that can really help us. You also, in the last year, you've actually started having a weekly or maybe two different shows. You have a Periscope show, right?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then you have a Superwoman, Avoid the Superwoman Complex Saturday or Sunday. Can you tell me a little bit about what you talk about on those shows?
Yeah. So Perry Girls TV, Perry Girls is a group on social media that helps female live broadcasters on Periscope. And it's 11,000 plus women nationally, or maybe even internationally, that want to do more broadcasting, and they help to support that and teach about social media tips and all that. They have their own Periscope channel called Perry Girls TV, where they broadcast different shows on cooking, on real estate, on wine tasting, yoga, you name it. And I'm one of their broadcasters. So my show is called Ask the Doc, and it's on Wednesday afternoons at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what I focus on is essentially, I talk a lot about the Superwoman Complex stuff, stress reduction, work-life balance, women's health. But I've even gotten into a lot of mental health, and depending on the month. So for this month, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I'll talk about breast issues. We talked about prostate health, so I open up the topics to what the group is interested in. I'll actually take a survey and say, okay, well, what do you want to talk about next? Because I don't always want to focus on the Superwoman Complex stuff, even though I write about that and that's my niche. I'm a family doctor, so I see any and all, and I treat from the cradle to the grave, so I can talk about a large amount of medical issues. So that's what the Perry Girls TV stuff is about. My stuff, I have my channel on DocSwiner, individually on Periscope, and I usually will come on once during the weekend at some point. This is a quick, hey, how's everybody doing? Usually, what I did during the weekend to relax, or what I have coming up in the week, and I call it No Superwoman Saturday or Sunday, to just kind of, I want people to know that, I try to practice what I preach as much as possible. And I try to show that. So if I'm getting a massage, or if I'm hanging out with my kids and having quality time, or if I'm finding easy ways to cook, pre-plan our meals for the week, I try to display that.
Oh, that's really cool. So can you think of if say that you're all stressed out, do you have like a quick de-stressor that somebody could do maybe they're like just totally stressed out? Maybe it only takes a minute or two, something that they could just like calm themselves down. Do you have any quick tips?
So what I like to do is, especially if it's a incredibly stressful day at work, seeing lots of patients that are giving you their burdens or just busy, busy, busy work. I try to get outside at least 5 minutes or so at lunch, just to get outside, get some fresh air. We can't open any windows in the office, so I try to get out, see the sunlight, have the sunlight shine in my face. Remind myself there is a world outside of work, and that I'll be home soon, So it's also a good break in the middle of the day to kind of mark, okay, we're halfway done. We're almost there. So if you can get outside, no matter what time of day at work, or if you have a window, open your window, get some sun rays, get some fresh air, just to remind you that, life doesn't have to always be so stressful, and remind you that there are other things outside of that stressful situation so that you don't feel so stuck. The other thing is you can do a quick prayer, a quick meditation right wherever you are. You can stop where you are, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, say a prayer, review your most favorite mantra, your most favorite saying. There are even meditation apps on phones and, apps that you can download on your phone that will put your earbuds in your ear, and it'll kind of talk you through a quick minute of meditation just to kind of relax you. And so you need those things. You need those things in your arsenal that you can pull out real fast in case you're feeling overwhelmed.
I think that's really important for people to understand it. You don't have to go spend 20 minutes, a half an hour, or an hour doing anything. It could be, 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes. And
that's right.
I think your advice about just get outside and breathe and let the sunshine touch you, or even if it's raining, just get outside and be in nature a little bit, I think is really
That's right.
good advice. So you have really done so many things since 2015, and coming up last year, you did New Year, New You, and so the second New Year, New Year is coming up. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So since the launch of the first book in 2015, I, of course, was trying to get my name out there, trying to sell some books, be involved in different conferences and events. And, a lot of this is kind of a begging game. You're putting yourself out there. You're hoping that someone will pick you up, asking and being persistent about, hopefully they'll want me to come and speak at their conference. And, after a while, I said, you know what? I'm here in Durham, North Carolina, the city of medicine. And so there's a wealth of knowledge and culture and writing and dance. And, I knew that this was this type of a place, but when I looked around and once I launched the book and met some of my peers and colleagues, we have a plethora of PhDs and dentists and psychologists and artists, brilliant people that are all kind of in the same environment, the same, what I like to call squad, tribe. I've come into contact and really meshed with brilliant people here. And what I said was, why put myself in a, asking position all the time? Can I, will you please allow me? Can I come? Will you add me to your event? When I could host my own event here with the wonderful people that are around me right here in my community. So that's what we did. I said, let's do our own thing. Let's call it New Year, New You. We'll do it right at the beginning of the year in January and help women in particular. So for men as well. So I don't want men to feel like they can't come, but it's definitely centered around women's health, women's entrepreneurship, networking, mental health, to help women in our area and nationally, whoever wants to come and travel to this wonderful place in Durham, to hear some wonderful speakers, to be inspired, to be encouraged, to meet new people. If you want to start a new business, to have someone in your realm that can help you. If you want to write a book, meet people who have done that, and just really get a boost of energy for the new year to help you establish those goals, those dreams that you've had, and help you to actually make real steps toward achieving that health-wise, losing weight, eating healthier. We have just a mix of everything that women in particular need just to feel more whole, more gratified, more satisfied in their lives.
So do you have the dates and a website for that yet?
So January the 7th, 2017. So 1717 is
Woohoo!
is the Saturday coming up, the first Saturday in January. And we will launch the tickets very, very soon. It's going to be on ticketleap.com. And actually it will be nyny.ticketleap.com. And that's where the tickets, we're going to launch it probably in the next week or so. We're very, very excited. We're going to have discounted sales from now until Black Friday. So stay tuned. And it's going to be great. We're going to have live music. We're going to have food. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have a men's panel. This year, the men's panel was very, very popular. It's probably the most popular part of the conference because even though it's a women's conference, we had a panel of 4 men. We called it Real Talk from Real Men. And it was so much fun. We talked about relationships, love, what is it like for a man to support a woman who is trying to do it all, their feelings about it. And it was an open Q&A. So the crowd got to ask these guys questions, and it was an electrifying time, to say the least. They kept it very real.
Well,
So,
I think people,
uh-huh.
men and women, I mean, if we can get the communication going,
Right.
it isn't like we have different goals and desires. We just communicate differently.
Correct.
So,
And
so
different approaches.
that's really phenomenal. So that happens on January 7th, 2017. Tickets are going to be available soon at nynyticketleap.com. So that's really cool. nyny.ticketleap.com. Makes sense.
Ma'am. 1717.
So tell me a little bit more. Let's see, there's so many things. People, go ahead and give me the overview of where people can listen to you weekly, and then tell me how we can get your books, and then tell me more about how we can just find out more about you and your services in general.
Yes. So the hub is DocSwiner.com is my website. And that has most all of my information about how we can connect, how we can, if you need me to come and speak at your conference, your group, your event, all of that, how you can get into contact with us. There's also a link on DocSwiner.com for my DocSwiner store, where you can purchase the books. We have some t-shirts, we have bags, we have the serum, the sleep serum there. But I'm also on social media, and I use DocSwiner pretty much everywhere. So, excuse me, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope. Find me at DocSwiner. If you like the live broadcasting and the videos, I post replays of my videos on YouTube. So there's a DocSwiner's YouTube channel. But if you want to chime in live, then download the free app for Periscope on your phone and find me at DocSwiner. And that's, usually sometime during the weekend that I'll chime on or tune in. And then Perry Girls TV is the other channel that I do my weekly broadcast on Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm DocSwiner everywhere, just to keep it easy.
DocSwiner.
And of course on Amazon. Get the books on Amazon. Yay.
That is phenomenal. And congratulations on your international best-selling book. That actually is pretty phenomenal when you cross the borders around the world.
I thank you, Tammy. I could not have done this without you. Your services have been phenomenal. I'm very, very happy and thankful for the help that you've given me in achieving the bestseller status.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, everybody, I'm really excited because, like Doc Swiner said, you can find her all over online. All you have to remember is DOC Swiner, and you can find her. And if you want to go to her website, take a look at her phenomenal t-shirts, because she has designed some phenomenal t-shirts. She has her serums and just a lot of really positive information. And that's one of the things that I really admire about you, is the fact that everything you do is uplifting.
Thank you.
It helps families. And I think that's, because of your background as a family doctor, you really do know how to take care of everyone, like you said, from cradle to grave, because that's really important. And I think your advice about getting enough sleep is really valuable, because that is one of the things that I know that makes a huge difference every day for me. Is if I get a good night's sleep, my whole day runs a lot better than when I don't. So
correct.
I really want to thank you for coming on the show today, and everybody there's just so much happening. So you have books and t-shirts and serums, and of course, New Year coming up in January. And that's in Durham, North Carolina. And that actually would probably be a pretty cool trip to go.
It's wonderful here.
Because that would be a nice place to visit at that time of the year. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great one.
Thank you. Everyone, go make it a great day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.